with Madonna at the mansion on the hill. Wake up with our gorgeous Queen Madonna. Good morning to you.
Thank you, and welcome to a special Floorplan Friday on Mornings with Madonna. Today we're going to examine some wonderful elevations of the carriage house. Now, as you all know, these renderings were done by the famed architect Edwin Hewitt, and they represent the 1906 transformation of the house.
Yes, Grandma, it was not a renovation. It really was a transformation.
Oh, Cliffy Pooh, I'll say. Now, it is more difficult for us to ascertain exactly what was changed in the carriage house during this overhaul, but suffice it to say that it was just as monumental as in the main mansion. The building was expanded significantly, both in its footprint and its height in 1906. Let's look at the elevations to understand what they were using this building for.
Well, Grandma, right on here it says it's the stables. But you keep calling it the carriage house.
Yes, Cliffy Pooh, that is true. The Carpenters alternatively called it a stables and a barn when they moved in. And it was an important distinction because it denoted that it housed live animals. Many people in early Minneapolis kept their carriages in a carriage house at their home, but their horses at a communal barn some distance away. The Carpenters' wealth allowed them to keep their horses on property, and this stables had the infrastructure to do that.
That seems like it would be quite an ordeal to go anywhere if your horses were kept down the street.
Which is why it was a benefit to have horses on hand, but a costly undertaking it was. So let's look at the scope of what was needed in a carriage house that was actually a stables. On the far left was the forge. In this 1906 rendering, it was converted into a garage, but early on a forge was handy to have to shoe horses. Each shoe was custom made to fit that horse. The 3 windows that you see there on the first floor, they lit the area where the carriages and the cars were stored. The carriage doors, they're narrow and high because they were built to accommodate carriages where the coachman would sit on top. The far right was where the horses' stalls were located. Below that was the manure bin, and that was emptied daily by the traveling dirt carter. Each horse produced over 20 pounds of manure a day.
Oh, Grandma, so dirty. Who would want horses?
At this time in history, they were a status symbol like a sports car. But we're not even through. There's even more infrastructure needed for horses. So you see, above the stables was the hay mow, where they kept the hay and grain to feed the horses. And on the second floor, the rest of it was to house the staff, to take care of the horses. It was the coachman and the groom or the stable boy. The next picture shows the 3 levels of the carriage house. It has the living level on the top, the horses and the carriages on the ground floor, and the basement, which had the manure bin and the coal bins and the boiler.
Grandma, it looks like it is 3 stories tall, but it's only 2 stories with a basement.
Only from the front, Cliffy Pooh. The carriage house sits atop a 15-foot-tall bluff, so the basement windows in the back are a long way off the ground. Looking at the carriage house from the back, it looks very much like a 3-story building plus some. It was fun looking at the carriage house elevations with you today, Cliffy Pooh. Go in my purse, get $1, and treat yourself. And thank you all for watching. We would like it if you would treat somebody by sharing this video. If you have any questions about the carriage house, please leave them in the comments below. We would appreciate it if you push like. Have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday on Mornings with Madonna.
Mornings with Madonna is 300 days. Will be 300 ways to see 300 Clifton.